we know what's true is actually true? Is it because it comes from a reliable source, a friend or an authority figure? Is it because we just have a feeling? Is it because it came from a peer-reviewed journal or a source? Is it because we saw it in the news? In a changing world, we wake up to something wild and new, seemingly every day, and we witness several types of events happening in different parts of the world, in different areas, finance, technology, social, political, environmental. And so at this point in time, there is a lot going on. Truthfully, there was probably a lot going on this entire time, but because the world has been stitched together in a very different way these last few years, it just seems way more amped right now. For the most part, I'm noticing that people are feeling exhausted, feeling tired, if not physically, then certainly mentally. There's this sense of, when will all this be over? I just want it to end. So here's the thing. All of these feelings we have of tiredness or exhaustion, I wonder, are they signs and sort of invitations for us to get very real with ourselves, to evaluate what is coming in and out of our field, what is coming in and out of our mind, what are our sense organs processing, and with all of this information coming at seemingly light speed, how are we discerning it? How are we digesting it? And so to me, I love the analogy of the swords of discernment. So the analogy of the sword is that it is obviously very sharp with its two sides. And those two sides can be your inside and your outside. So the world and the universe within and the world and the universe around that we experience and interpret. The swords of discernment are very powerful because in order to maintain its sharpness, in order to maintain it as a useful and necessary tool, you always have to sharpen it, which means it always needs to be mindfully, correctly, and carefully used. Practices on mindfulness are that. We return to them day to day. We take it step by step. There's no person who is good at meditation. The goal isn't to get good at it. The goal is, once we are mindful of our thoughts, we also then become mindful of our emotions. We then start to see how we intend and how we create the life in the universe that we actually live and experience. So really, mindfulness practices are a doorway to the multidimensionality of the self. And that is how we end up living, perceiving, understanding, reevaluating the truths within and the truths around. We start to sharpen our perspective. We start to sharpen our swords that then helps us clearly open up to a larger perspective, a wider perspective, and allows us to evolve our minds. So how do we sharpen the swords of discernment? I'd say that it actually first starts with grounding ourselves. Then when we are watching the news, watching a feed of, whatever we are, witnessing, whether it's Twitter or wherever we get our news and information from, again, it is about asking the right questions. Are we looking then at opinions? Are we seeing information for what it is, or are we seeing opinions? Most of us sometimes are merge what is subjective and objective. And I don't think that's essentially a bad thing. But my way around that is to look at what is popular, what is the popular opinion, what is the unpopular opinion, because again, humans understand duality. To know one thing, you cannot fully know it without at least acknowledging that its opposite exists. So what are the popular and the unpopular opinions? These days, the question I ask myself the most is, who benefits from the discord between the popular and the unpopular? It's sort of, if it's like a money-related conversation, then, we really have to follow the money. And in this way, again, this isn't about going down rabbit holes of investigation, certainly, but certainly you can if you want to. But even if I ask these questions of myself without ever talking to anyone, how I start to interpret the article, the opinions that I am taking in, that I am reading or listening to, starts to change. And in this way, we get to actually become a lot more empowered in our experience of truths within ourselves and in the world around us. And we get a lot more grounded and heart-centered, because the mind is a brilliant tool and it can do a whole lot of things. It also has its limitations. The heart, however, is infinite and expansive. Many times you hear something, maybe from a friend, or maybe you hear it on the radio or something, and you have a feeling about it. Maybe it's a gut feeling, maybe you feel a little bit of a contraction, maybe you feel a little bit of an expansion. Our bodies, because they are of the earth and of the universe, our bodies, to me, align to universal laws, universal truths. So while our mind is certainly helpful in discerning, our bodies are also absolutely capable, available, and necessary, useful tools in helping us discern what is true for us, what is true in an evolving, changing way, because truth does not always stay static in an ascension, in an evolving world, in an evolving consciousness. And so I bring this up now at the end of April in 2022, because we are coming up to one of my favorite times of the year, which is what I call eclipse season. April 30th marks the solar eclipse. And whether you follow astrology or follow eclipses, that does not matter. If you do, you might know why I'm excited about it. But to me, these eclipses in the lines of Taurus and Taurus and Scorpio, there's one on April 30th, and then there's another one in May. They always happen in pairs. And within this season, a lot of the energy that is brought up is around what we consciously or unconsciously believed to be true within the self. And so over the next few weeks, over the next few months, as we walk through the spring, the summer, and well into the fall, when you are sitting and looking at any information that you're taking in, ask yourself, what do you believe to be true about this situation? Sometimes it's helpful to know what it is prior to even watching or reading it. And then, did that change because you read something? Where are you before and after? Ask yourself who benefits. Is what you're reading of great significance and benefit to you? Is it making you heart open? Is it making you healthy, wealthy, wise, loving, trusting? Is it causing discord, disconnection? Is it sowing the seeds of hatred and separation? Who is benefiting? Who is benefiting financially? Who's benefiting, emotionally, if it's a, relationship conversation? Who is benefiting maybe politically or environmentally? What is the true cost of this exchange that's happening? Because when we take in information, do not be fooled by this. It is an exchange. Something opinion is being received by us, is being ingested by us, and then we go and tell our friends or our coworkers. This is how information gets exchanged. So whether you're interpreting financial markets, whether you're interpreting, whether to break up with someone, or whether you're trying to figure out what house to buy next, all of this is stitched together by this invisible dome of how each of us perceive something, how each of us perceive the truth. And again, some truths are stable, static in the universe, and other ones change and evolve. One of the static truths of the universe is that change is evergreen and eternal. So I'll leave you with that today to ponder where you sit with truths and perspectives within yourself. And if you find over the next 2 or 3 weeks, things are getting really heightened, really chaotic, know that the stars in the universe and the planetary alignments are here to support our choice, our conscious choice to ask the right questions, see where we can evolve, shift a perspective, release old thought patterns and processes, release our old attachments to things that are perhaps falling away or falling apart. Ask ourselves where we are holding on to things that isn't actually benefiting our growth. There's a lot of questions to ask. There's a lot of ways to dig into the truth. Just watch a really good, cop show. They always follow the money, ask the right questions, follow up on leads. If you like shows and movies like that, those are absolutely good tools to use now. This is the time to use them. This is the time to use them when you're trying to find out your own truth and shift your own perspective within your life, and when you view and behold the outside world. So I'll leave you with that today. These are exciting times, and the change is awesome on the levels and layers that it's happening, and it's touching every area of life. So have fun with this one. Have a nice day.